Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it was very sad to get the news last Friday of the passing of our former colleague, Congressman Jim Lloyd. Jim Lloyd and I began as political adversaries in the late 1970s and early 1980s, and we ended up as great friends and allies on a wide range of issues. Jim was a dedicated patriot. He was a public servant and had a very distinguished military record as well. Politically, he began as the mayor of West Covina, California, and many have said that he indicated right then that he wanted to have an opportunity to serve in the United States House of Representatives. He also had served as a Navy fighter pilot, and Mr. Speaker, I had a conversation with his son Brian last night and his grandson Seth, and Jim was able to spend his last moments on this earth with his grandson, who was following in his footsteps. His grandson Seth is a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy at Annapolis and is now training at Pensacola, Florida. Jim had driven across the country and was visiting Seth and had just been with him before he suffered a massive stroke and drove off the road, ending his life as a hero. His son Brian told me last night that there was a woman who was in the way of the car, and even though his foot had gone to the accelerator and he'd suffered this stroke, he was still a hero in that he was able to steer the car out away from hitting this woman before it went into a ravine. Last summer, his wife of 63 years, Jackie, his great ally, passed away, and Jim told me when we had a lengthy conversation following her passing that it was as if half of him was gone. And so, Mr. Speaker, I have to say that Jim lived a very full 89 years. And he was a very distinguished member of this institution, serving on the Armed Services Committee and as a member of the Science and Technology Committee, where he chaired a subcommittee. And he made a great mark on many very, very important questions that we faced. And I have to say that it was a privilege for me, again, having begun as an adversary of his, to have ended a very close and dear friend and a political ally. And I have to say also that there are many people here in this Capitol who knew him and worked with him, even though he left more than 3 decades ago. But I have to say to Mary Klappa, who now works for our colleague John Mica, who was the one who informed me of this sad news, and the many others who worked with Jim Lloyd, who was so dedicated to constituent service and provided an example and model for me, that our thoughts and prayers are with all of you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. With that, I yield back the balance of my time.